My talk is about theatre and digital archives, but I start with a case from neuroscience. In 2005, three US neuroscientists published a case study in the journal Neurocase. A.J., a 40-year-old woman identified as a superior rememberer, was plagued by memories both of her own life and of public events. Her particular feat of recall was not, as previous literature on exceptional memory had found, it was not about strings of numbers or random facts or indeed the ability to recite continuous prose. Rather, A.J. remembered all kinds of things that had happened to her and when they had happened. And she also recalled a range of emblematic public events, things like the dates of the death of Elvis, if indeed he died, J.R. and Princess Diana. It's probably my own literary training, but when I read this account, it seemed a perfect metonym, a kind of update of Borges' 1940 story, Funes the Memorious, the peasant who was cursed with perfect recall after a head injury falling from his horse. The discussion of A.J.'s memory never mentions this, but it seemed clear to me that her overactive memory was structured like the internet. Personal moments, as Apple and Twitter like to call them, tagged to Wikipedian facts about who died when and how. The researchers named this exceptional case hyperthymestic syndrome, from the Greek thymesis, remembering. Now, A.J.'s situation may indeed be remarkable, but it's clear we all live in the age of hyperthymesis. Memory has become, for all of us, prosthetic, a kind of hard drive or external cloud storage system. And that our ready recourse to the digital has made certain forms of human memory obsolete, telephone numbers, for example, who remembers those? This has often been discussed. But what I want to try and talk about for a few minutes this evening is about something we all know, that the paradox of the digital future is the burden of the past we are spending so much time archiving. And I want to use the theatre as a particular medium to talk about this. Because theatre is a live medium, it tells us something about how to be alive. And therefore, I think its particular attitude to archiving and to memory has some wider implications. Industry statistics show us that almost all theatres are working towards digitally preserving and archiving live content. 78% of theatres in 2015 use digital means to preserve performances. Most are working towards the capture of live productions, making them available in ongoing form online. The theatre archive, typically in analogue form, an assortment of paper which might include scripts, designs, show reports, sometimes costumes, props, or other material recollections of the play on stage. This, like so many other aspects of our lives, is going digital, and in the process, its focus is being radically expanded. Digitally filmed trailers are a routine part of theatrical production. Storified collections of tweets and other social media reactions, and the new theatrical form of digital programs, these are all being recorded and preserved for future generations. Theatre companies now think about producing material in order to be able to archive it, rather than archiving the material they're producing. The theatre archive becomes a kind of primary performance, inseparable from the event it allegedly records. Now, in this archival process, the word live is under some ontological pressure. Live streaming of theatrical events into cinemas is morphing inexorably towards the specific blocking of productions so that they look good on camera. Routine encore showings now make clear that formerly live events are, of course, in fact, recorded. And perhaps DVD productions advertised as recorded live bring out the paradox. The more I think about it, recorded live would be my shortest answer to the question, what does it mean to be human in the digital age? Looking over a similar revolution in representational technologies, Walter Benjamin observed elegically, even the most perfect reproduction of a work of art is lacking in one element, its presence in time and space, its unique existence at the place where it happens to be. Theatre, we might say, is the one art form that has most retained what Benjamin called aura, the unique existence within time and space, liveness, living. But the implications of recorded live make clear how much that's changing. The availability of recorded theatre online has increased exponentially over the last 2 years. I think within the next 2, all theatre productions will be available online. So how does this fit with excessive memory, with cultural hyperthymesis? Writing about something similar in the area of pop music, Simon Reynolds suggests that contemporary music is completely clogged up by what he calls retromania, the endlessly easy online availability of its past. He says suggestively, history must have a dustbin, or history will be a dustbin, a gigantic, sprawling garbage heap. So much of our discussion about the future potential of the digital sphere is about how it will better enable us to record the past. The paradox is clear. The defining characteristic of being human in the digital age is that of being overwhelmed by the past. And the threat to our creative present and future is that the past becomes too omnipresent for us to move forward. Enter the creative potential of forgetting. The so-called right to be forgotten is usually associated with the right to excise drunken photographs, participation in incautious activities such as Nazi orgies and so on, and to have these expunged from the digital record. So the idea of forgetting is tinged with a sense that what you have done ought really to be forgotten. But I think it's something that we could think about more widely in the cultural sphere. Rather than always looking to record and archive, we might want to reinstate the idea that theatre requires us being in the same place and the same time. More theatres might want to experiment with digital forms that are not just recorded live, but are a different, distinct art form that might again exist only in real time and not in the archive. The vast majority of theatres are involved in digital archiving. A tiny proportion are exploring digital theatre production as a standalone form. At the moment, theatre is being changed by, rather than changing, the digital. The best theatrical experiences, I think, are the ones we have half forgotten, even the ones that were really good, where subjective highlights have crystallised in inauthentic but highly personal tableaus of remembrance. Forgetting, half remembering, is one way we collude with art to make it our own. Going back to the experience of encountering it is no more possible than going back to any other kind of experience. Because theatre is live, it teaches us something about being in the present moment. And therefore, its own attitude to the archive tells us something important about what live and living might mean. So I've used the theatre as an example of the negative aspects of something which is a much wider phenomenon, the phenomenon of recorded live. And more widely to gesture towards the deadening hand of keeping everything, recording everything for posterity. We don't have time to watch this stuff now. Why would anybody in the future? It's not only, I think, those things that we regret that have the right to be forgotten. My academic work is on Shakespeare, and I do observe in conclusion that it may just be because we have allowed ourselves to forget how Shakespeare originally looked that we're still able to do it 400 years later. Remembering, not forgetting, is the enemy of creative reinvention. Not everything that is live should be recorded. Thank you.